great program. وشوي احنا ضيعنا. اليوم ان شاء الله حنتكلم عن ال reproductive system. طبعا we have the male and female reproductive systems. طبعا as we know, the main function of the reproductive system is to أول حاجة to produce the gametes. يعني الوظيفة الأساسية سواء الميل أو الفيميل reproductive is to produce the gametes, the sperms in the male and the ova أو the eggs in the female. الوظيفة الثانية طبعا اللي هي producing the sex hormones, الميل sex hormones أو الفيميل sex hormones. طبعا here we have the objectives. There are too many objectives. We will skip it ونمشي. نبدأ بالميل reproductive system. So زي ما قلنا المقدمة أو introduction. So the main function of the system is to produce the sex cells أو gametes, sperms and ova, produce the sex hormones. طبعا main part or components of the reproductive system are the primary sex organs اللي هم ovaries in the female and the testes in the male. وطبعا هم organs أو structures المسؤولين عن either producing the gametes or the sex hormones. البارت الثاني اللي هو the accessory reproductive organs, which are the ducts that convey these cells and the glands and the external genitalia. نبدأ بالgonads of the male reproductive system. طبعا زي ما قلنا the gonads are the testes. وطبعا زي ما شايفين هنا في الصورة the testes are located outside the human body. طبعا there are two of them يكونوا hanging externally from the body أو يكونوا enclosed within a sac of skin أو كيس من السكن, which is called the scrotum. Each testis is approximately 4 centimeters long. يعني لو جينا شفنا الطول الطول يكون 4 سنتيمتر, العرض 2.5 سنتيمتر. طبعا زي ما قلنا كل واحد يكون في السكروتم surrounded by two tonics أو two membranes. These membranes are the tunica vaginalis, which is the outer layer اللي هو الممبرين ده. شايفينه يكون عبارة عن double layered membrane. يكون double layered membrane. هو عبارة عن extension أو part من البريتونيوم. The other membrane أو the other tonic is called the tunica albuginea, which is the inner part اللي هنا باللون السماوي أو باللون اللبني. التونيكا البوجينيا طبعا عندها extensions تقسم التستيس أو each testis into lobules. Each testis contains about 250 lobules, وكل lobule زي ما شايفين هنا ده عبارة عن lobule أو وحدة. Each lobule contains 3 to 4 or a few of these ducts, which are called the seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules are the structures that are responsible for forming the sperms. So لو شفنا هنا طبعا دي seminiferous tubules زي ما قلنا they are أو زي ما شايفين they are very long and coiled, toughly coiled, and at the end of these lobules يعني بعد ما يتصنع السبرم داخل لو شفنا هنا مقطع عرضي طبعا في هنا عندنا انواع من الخلايا. I'm not sure انتم ما اعتقد انه اخذتوا histology. So هنا عندنا many types او تقريبا 3 to 4 types of cells. One of these cells or one type of these cells is responsible for forming the sperms. هي اللي حتدينا السبرماتو زوا أو السبرمز. وهنا السبرمز تطلق في اليومن أو في التجويف الداخلي بتاع التيوب ده أو السمينيفرس tubule. Then these sperms will go to the next stage or the next area or the next part, which is the أو عن طريق ال efferent ductules عن طريق ال straight ductules إلى ما توصل إلى المنطقة اللي هنا, which is called the reed testes. بعد كده من ال reed testes the sperms will go to the next part, which is called the epididymis, which is this highly coiled or very coiled structure. طول الابيديديمس طبعا 3.5.8 سنتيمتر. طبعا لو جينا فرينا او فكينا الكويلينج او الكويلد بارت هنلاقي انه الابيديديمس ده it could reach to up to 6 meters long. طبعا في ده كله احنا عندنا السبرمز لسه immature and immotile، يعني مش ناضجين وبالتالي ما عندهم القدرة على الفرتلايزيشن and they are immotile أو ما عندهم القدرة على الحركة. Most of this happens within the epididymis، يعني في الجزء الطويل ده حيحصل المaturation. So أهم وظيفة للابيديديمس is to help in maturing these cells. لو شفنا parts of the epididymis نلاقي طبعا it's located in the posterolateral part of the testis. It has a head, a body and a tail. طبعا الhead يكون located within the superior part of the testis. The body and the tail are located posterolateral بالنسبة للتستس، ونهاية التيل طبعا تيجي عندنا او حيجي عندنا البارت الثاني او النكست ستيج which is called the vas deferens اللي هو هنا بدايته. So the vas deferens or the ductus deferens is the structure or the tube that conveys or takes the sperms from outside the body من التستس إلى internal part of the body. So here this is the ductus deferens or the vas deferens. It enters into the pelvic cavity via the طبعا inguinal canal اللي هو عبارة عن canal موجود within the abdominal wall أو abdominal muscles. The vas deferens زي ما شايفين هنا طبعا this is the urinary bladder. So it goes posteriorly or directs posteriorly لما hooks أو moves or goes superior to the ureter. Here this is ureter. It will hook and go to the posterior surface of the urinary bladder. In the posterior surface of the urinary bladder شايفين هنا. So the ureter, okay, it will go superior to the ureter, and then at the end of it, it expands and gives us this part, this expanded part, which is called the ampulla of the vas deferens. Right. At this part, طبعا vas deferens is supposedly to enter into the prostate or prostatic gland. Before it enters to the prostatic gland, it meets with the seminal vesicle. طبعا الseminal vesicle احنا قلنا at this point the sperms are immotile، ما عندهم القدرة على الحركة، صح حصل لهم maturation في الابيديديمس ولكن لسه ما عندهم القدرة على السويمينج لأنه they are not exposed yet to the fluid that they will swim in. So this fluid comes from the seminal vesicle, and the seminal vesicle is responsible for forming 70% of the semen, of the volume of the semen. So the ampulla of the vas deferens will meet the seminal vesicle. Together they will form the ejaculatory duct. Then طبعا عندنا on both sides the two ejaculatory ducts will open into the prostatic part of the urethra داخل ال prostate gland. هنا طبعا we have the prostate gland which is responsible for producing the remaining 30% of the volume of the semen. طبعا بالإضافة لأنه الفلويد أو production of the prostate gland. هيكون فيها the activating factor that will help or activate the sperms to swim. So زي ما قلنا ejaculatory duct and then they are paired, formed by the union of the vas deferens and the seminal vesicle. They terminate by opening into the prostatic urethra, which ويتكون smooth muscles in their walls, which help into propelling أو تدفع sperms and the fluid or the semen into the urethra. The urethra, طبعا, I think you already took the urinary system. So ممكن إذا ما أخذته ممكن نقول الكلام بسرعة. طبعا there is a difference between the male urethra and the female urethra. In the female, the urethra only functions within أو تابع للurinary system only. It doesn't have any reproductive function. في حين إنه في المale it has both reproductive and urinary functions. So the same passageway that transmits the urine also transmits the sperms and semen. In the male, the urethra is long. It has 3 parts. The first part اللي هو أخذناه قبل شوية, which is located within the prostate gland. فعشان كده حيكون اسمها the prostatic urethra. The second part, which is located within the perineum, this is the shortest part. طبعا it's called the membranous urethra, and the last part is called the penile urethra, which is located inside the penis. It's also called the spongy urethra. The accessory glands, طبعا, and then 3 glands. 2 are paired, 1 is single. The paired are the seminal vesicles. شفناهم اللي هم هنا. قلنا they form 70% of the semen. Bulbourethral glands, which are here, these small glands, and the prostate gland. Seminal vesicles عبارة عن hollow glands, شايفين هنا مفرغة أو empty, and they do not contain any sperm and they do not store any sperm. احنا قلنا بس هم حيصنعوا السيمن and produce them ويطلقوهم من خلال ejaculatory duct, والسيمن حيجي عن طريق الفاز deferens. وزي ما قلنا does not store any of these spermatozoa. The second gland, which is the prostate gland, it's located immediately below the urinary bladder. So شايفين هنا, this is the urinary bladder. Below it we have the prostate gland. Here we have the ejaculatory duct, مكان ما التقى vas deferens مع seminal vesicles. Here this is the prostatic urethra. قلنا prostate, it produces 30% of the, or 1/3 of the volume of the semen, and طبعا ميزة السيمن اللي produced by the prostate is that it releases a sperm activating components. طبعا sometimes احنا نعرف أو we should know that the prostatic part of the urethra is the most dilatable part and the widest part of the urethra. But sometimes if when there is a problem with the prostate gland أو يكون في enlargement للprostate gland, احنا قلنا إنه هي prostate gland تكون زي الدونت مفرغة في النص وجاي اليوريثرا في وسطها. So when this gland enlarges, it will press the urethra. So هيكون في مشكلة هنا في urination لأنه urine going from the or leaving the urinary bladder المسار حقه هيكون very narrow. So this could lead to problems. Lastly, بالنسبة للglands, we have the bulbourethral glands. قلنا there are 2 pea-sized glands located inferior اللي هم هنا الصغار ديلا inferior to the prostate. So here this is the prostate وهنا bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland produces a thick clear mucus. البرودكشن هنا حيكون مخاطي وليس يعني فلويدي مش سائل. The function of this fluid is to neutralize the passageway for the sperms. احنا قلنا انه the urethra in the male reproductive system or in the male urogenital system it conveys both the urine and the sperms. So the urine is very acidic. فإذا جاء السبرم أو مر السبرم بعد اليورين they will die. So عندنا bulbourethral gland its main function is to produce this fluid or this this mucus that will clear and المحلول حيكون أو الإفراز حيكون قاعدي, so it will neutralize the acidity of the spongy urethra, so it will be a safe passageway for the sperms. Then we have the scrotum. طبعا قلنا أول إنه التستيس are located within a sac of skin. الsac of skin ده طبعا يكون موجود externally خارج الجسم holding the testes. There is a septum that separates this cavity or this scrotum into two cavities or two rooms. Each room contains one of the testes. طبعا السcrotum it provides and the main reason that the testes are located outside the body is that the production of the sperms is very sensitive to heat or to temperature. So the scrotum holds the testes away from the body temperature بحيث انه يكون درجة الحرارة المناسبة او الملائمة لتصنيع السبرم which is تقريبا 3 degrees lower than the body temperature. So if the مثلا لو كان في cold weather حيحصل العكس. The scrotum will ascend and make let the testes be closer to the body temperature. إذا كان weather is hot أو حتى الجسم مثلا إذا كان في fever أو درجة الحرارة عالية, it will descend to keep these testes away from the body عشان ما يتأثر formation. Then we have the penis طبعا, which is the part of the reproductive system that delivers the sperms into the female reproductive tract. The penis and the scrotum هم مع بعض يكونوا لنا male external genitalia. It's formed of 3 parts. Root, which is the part that is attached to the anterior abdominal wall, to the body. The shaft or the body, which is the free part, and lastly the glans penis, which is the enlarged tip. The foreskin that covers the glans penis is known as the prepuce, which is this is the part that undergoes the circumcision in some countries or some areas. طبعا it's formed of 3 cylinders or cylindrical parts or bodies. 2 are called the corpora cavernosa, and the central part is called the corpus spongiosum. So here في cross section these are the 2 corpora cavernosa. طبعا المفرد corpus, الجمع corpora. So here these are the 2 corpora cavernosa, وهنا عندنا this is the corpus spongiosum. داخل الcorpus spongiosum لو شايفين هنا there is the urethra, and this is the part which we call the penile urethra أو سميناه the spongy urethra. ليه سميناه spongy urethra؟ لأنه موجود داخل الcorpus spongiosum. The female reproductive system, معليش أنا قاعدة أمشي بسرعة بس عشان الوقت, these are 2 big systems. The female reproductive system طبعا also is formed of the gonads, the reproductive ducts, the accessory glands, and the external genitalia بالإضافة للmammary glands. الgonads زي ما قلنا these are the parts that produce the ova and the sex hormones. the ducts that convey or move the sperms, أو الأوفا, which are the fallopian tubes, the uterus, and the vagina. Accessory glands, there are the greater vestibular glands and the external genitalia, أو نسميه the female pudendum. The mammary glands, mostly طبعا it's both sexes have these glands, but it's only functional in the females. The gonads or the ovaries are طبعا paired, homologous to the testes. They are located within the pelvic cavity at the ovarian fossa, طبعا lateral to the uterus. The ovaries are surrounded by a dense connective tissue capsule that is called the tunica abogenia, مشابه للتونيكا اللي كانت تحيط بالتستس. Its shape is oval or ovoid in shape, measures 3 by 2 by 1 centimeters, الطول 3 centimeters, العرض 2 centimeters, السمك 1 centimeter. 2 surfaces, medial and lateral, 2 borders, posterior and anterior, 2 poles, upper and lower or superior and inferior. So here, these are the ovaries. لو جينا للhistological structure of the ovary نلاقي إنه it's formed of outer cortex and inner medulla. زي ما شايفين هنا the inner medulla هو الجزء اللي حيحتوي على blood vessels and the nerves. The outer cortex is the part that contains the طبعا germinal cells أو الخلايا المكونة للfollicles أو الoocytes. The support of the ovaries, طبعا احنا عندنا الorgans اللي موجودة في الabdominal pelvic cavity mostly are suspended by the peritoneum or parts of the peritoneum. The same goes for the reproductive system. The أول membrane عندنا, which are the suspensory ligaments. طبعا these secure the ovaries to the lateral هنا. Here, this is the suspensory ligament. يثبت الovaries مع lateral wall of the pelvic cavity. Here we have the ovarian ligament, which suspends the ovaries medially مع uterus, and the broad ligament, which encloses both the ovaries and the suspensory ligaments. Mesovarium is the anterior border of the ovary. The anterior border of the ovary is attached to the posterior layer of the broad ligament by this mesovarium. نعيد ونزيد. The functions of the ovaries are to produce the ova and to produce the sex hormones. وهنا طبعا في الفيميل حتكون الهرمونز the estrogen and the progesterone. The blood supply of the ovaries, I think you took the cardiovascular system. And we know that the abdominal or the aorta is the main source of the oxygenated blood to all the organs in the body. The reproductive system is not different. طبعا عندنا من الabdominal aorta or the abdominal part of the descending aorta, we have the gonadal arteries. In the male اللي هم testicular arteries طالعين مباشرة من الabdominal aorta عشان يغذوا التستيس, and in the female they are the ovarian arteries. نفس الشيء طالعين من الabdomen أو من الabdominal aorta to go downwards the pelvic cavity. The uterine artery طبعا عبارة عن branch من internal iliac artery. It supplies the uterus and part of the ovary. The venous drainage is via the ovarian vein, which drains into the inferior vena cava and the left renal طبعا في الرايت side وفي left renal vein في الرايت side. The uterine tubes, as we know them as the fallopian tubes or the oviducts, they lie in the upper part or upper border of the broad ligament, about 10 centimeters long, and they are supported by the broad ligament So here the broad ligament, and here this is the oviduct or the fallopian tube extending from the uterus laterally to the ovaries. طبعا الاوفيدكت or uterine tubes are not physically attached to the ovaries. Main function, أول شيء they receive and transport the ovulated oocyte from the ovary to the uterus. So لما الأوفري تطلق الأوفم into the pelvic cavity. These parts or these are called the fimbriae أو الأقدام اللي projecting from the lateral end of the oviduct. They suck, movement حقتها suck the ovum into the fallopian tube. Then the ovum طبعا inside the cavity it will move until it reaches the internal part of the uterus or uterine cavity. So this is one of the main functions of the oviduct. The second function is fertilization, which is the most important function. The ovum receives the sperms coming from the vagina towards the uterine cavity إلى fallopian tube, and then they fertilize the egg at this area in the lateral end of the fallopian tube. Fertilized egg will move towards the internal part of the uterus. طبعا هنا حيتغير اسمها من ovum إلى zygote اللي هي fertilized egg. It also connects the peritoneal cavity with the uterine cavity, and زي ما قلنا it's not physically attached to the ovaries. Parts عندنا the uterine or the intramural part, the isthmus, the ampulla, and the infundibulum. The ampulla طبعا is the widest part, which is the site, and it's the site of fertilization. طولها تقريبا here this is the هنا this is the ampulla, and here this is the infundibulum. من الانفundibulum في projections طالعة which are the fimbriae أو الأقدام اللي قلنا وظيفتها إنه their movement sucks the ovum into the uterine tubes cavity. The uterus عبارة عن muscular pear-shaped organ that measures 3 by 2 by 1 inches, not centimeters. الأوفري قلنا 3 في 2 في 1 centimeters. هنا inches. الطول 3 inch, العرض 2 inches, and السمك 1 inch. It lies between the urinary bladder and the rectum in the pelvic cavity. Can I move this? Yes. So here لو شفنا هنا this is the uterus. Anterior to it is the urinary bladder. Behind it نشوف rectum. It has 4 parts, which are the fundus, the body, isthmus, and the cervix. لو شفنا الأجزاء هنا, this is the fundus, which is above the level of the entrance of the fallopian tubes. This is the body, which is the largest part of the uterus, and here this is the cervix, which opens into the vagina. The cervix contains or has 3 parts: internal os, which opens into the uterine cavity, the external os, which opens into the vagina, وبينهم حيكون في the cervical canal أو عنق الرحم. The walls of the uterus طبعا 3 layers. The outer part is called the perimetrium. The middle, which is the muscular part, يتكون من smooth muscle, which is called the myometrium, and the internal part, which is called the endometrium. The supports of the uterus, and then the pelvic diaphragm and the surrounding organs. Pelvic diaphragm supports it inferiorly. The surrounding organs زي الفاجينا والurinary bladder, وعندنا ligaments like the broad ligament of the uterus, which attaches it to the pelvis. The round ligament anchors the uterus anteriorly, anterior wall. The uterosacral ligament, which anchors أو تثبت اليوترس posteriorly مع السacrum. blood supply via the uterine artery and the ovarian artery. Uterine artery جاي من internal iliac artery, ovarian artery زي ما قلنا من abdominal aorta. Venous drainage is into the internal iliac vein. So here, these are the supports of the uterus. عندنا هنا البرود ligament. طبعا تكلمنا عنه قبل شوية وقلنا إنه it also supports the ovary with the suspensory ligament. وهنا this is the uterosacral ligament which attaches it or anchors it posteriorly, and we have here the round ligament. وهنا عندنا blood supply of the uterus. This is the ovarian artery. Supplies the ovary and this part of the upper part of the uterus. The uterine artery شايفين جاي من internal iliac artery. Uterine artery supply the uterus well upper part of the vagina. طبعا برضه هيدينا vaginal arteries that supply the vagina. Vagina is a fibromuscular tube around 7 to 9 centimeters long. تمتد من cervix of the uterus to the vestibule, the area of the external genitalia. It serves as a passageway for the menstrual fluid, birth canal, receptor for the intercourse, for the penis. Also, its external orifice is conveyed by a fold mucous membrane called the hymen. The external genitalia عندنا طبعا the mons pubis عبارة عن fatty area that lies the pubic symphysis, which is this area. Then the labia, which are skin folds, labia majora and the labia minora. The vestibule, which is enclosed within the labia majora. Here, this area is the vestibule, and the clitoris, which corresponds to the male penis. This is it contains the erectile tissue. Collectively, all the female external genitalia are called the uvula. Sorry, the vulva. I think lastly, عندنا mammary glands زي ما قلنا, they are present in both males and females. However, in the male, these glands are non-functional. They are only functional in the females. Developmentally, هم عبارة عن modified sweat glands. Each mammary gland contains or is contained within the rounded skin covered breast within the hypodermis. طبعا it's compartmentalized fat by connective tissue septa, يعني عندنا السبتة هنا divides it into compartments. The glandular lobules drained by 15 to 20 lactiferous ducts. وشفنا هنا these are طبعا هنا these are the lobules and of the gland, and these are the lactiferous ducts. Lactiferous ducts, بعد lactiferous ducts طبعا these lactiferous ducts open into the nipple. Each duct has a dilated part which is called the lactiferous sinus. This is the lactiferous sinus, and this sinus opens into the nipple. The areola is the ring of pigmented skin that surrounds the nipple, and the nipple is the part that is or the protruding part of the breast area. So that's it. It was a kind of a marathon. خلصنا. Do you have any questions? في سؤال؟
There was a question saying, is the bulbourethral gland the Cooper gland?
Sorry, معلش, I missed that. I didn't hear.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat. Is the bulbourethral gland the Cooper gland?
Sorry, ما سمعت أصلاً.
Okay, I think.
Did we mention these? Okay. Sorry, I didn't mention it. Okay, you can answer. ما مشكلة. البلبوريثرال جلاند. انت بتسأل عن النيمينج، هل هو مختلف ولا حاجة يعني هل هو حاجة ثانية؟ لا، it's the same thing. Hello.
Is that your question?
Okay.
Was that your question?
Yeah, I'm just reading a question from the chat.
طيب let us stop in the chat عشان نشوف احنا برضو. Preview. Active speaker. هنا. This one. لا,
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Yeah. You already answered this question.
That has one testis. Does it make problem? No. There's no problem. There's no problem لأنه ما في مشكلة في production. Each testis can أو either testis can produce the sperms. وزي ما قلنا احنا عندنا في if you remember in the formation أو in the parts of the testis كان عندنا قلنا في lobules around 250 lobules. Each lobule contain between 3 to 4 seminiferous tubules. Well, seminiferous tubules are the parts that form the sperms. يعني already one testis has around تقريبا حوالي 1000 أو 1000 tubules. So if one testis is missing, at least half is there. So there won't be any problems. What problem does the enlarged prostate do to the urethra and delivery of sperms? أولاً main problem حيكون في urination more than the delivery of sperms وبرضه حيأثر في delivery of the sperms لأنه lower part will be also occluded or will be constricted. حيكون في مشكلة في اليورين أو في urination.
Can you repeat the ligaments that surround the ovaries?
Ligaments that surround
The ovaries.
شنو؟ احنا we mentioned only the tunica albuginea. طيب.
No, I mean the suspensory ligament, and you mentioned another.
The support. قصدك support of the ovary. طيب معناها نشوف الصورة أسهل. So here, these are the ligaments supporting the ovaries. Oh, sorry. Here, هنا. طيب, do you want to see the pictures يعني أو هنا. These are the main ligaments, and then a suspensory ligament اللي هو ده. Here, this is the suspensory ligament. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I see.
طيب, so هنا this is the suspensory ligament. قلنا يثبت ovary أو it anchors the ovary with the lateral wall أو laterally. This is the ovarian ligament. It anchors أو تثبت الأوفري مع اليوترس medially, and the broad ligament. Well, broad ligament we mentioned it twice. It supports the ovaries and the uterus. It's a wide ligament that suspends both the uterus and the ovaries. طبعا بالإضافة للsuspensory ligament أو it goes beyond the suspensory ligament laterally.
Okay, thank you.
Was that clear? Okay. Any more questions? بالنسبة للسؤال بتاع enlarged prostate, fluids will be accumulated. The answer is yes. Any more questions? Huh? خلاص؟ أنا أعتقد إن الوقت خلاص خلص أصلاً. 45 صح؟ So it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for listening. I hope inshallah to see you in next times or in other lectures. Have a nice evening. في أمان الله.